Hello, everybody. It is Friday, and we're going into the weekend with two of my favorite guys from Young and the Restless. Jason Thompson is here. So nice to see you from the car, as always.
Is it always? Yeah, sorry,
It's
inconsistent guy.
Consistency. And wait, Billy, we're losing you a little bit. Uh-oh. And Billy's outside.
I can see you.
Okay, cool. You're just going in and
You
out.
can't see me?
You're a little going in and out at the moment.
Oh, no.
No. It was fine before. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We've got people outside and people in cars, but we're going to try to make this work. Billy, you're a little going in and out, so just if you have log in and log back on, that's one option.
All right, I'm gonna pop on my phone.
Okay.
All right.
So, Jason.
Hey, man.
How are you?
How do I get out of here?
I feel like it's been a little bit.
I'm going to remove you. Hi.
Hi.
Jason, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
It's good to see you. So what do you think about all this? There's lots of like new people at YNR and like new casting additions and some you've worked with, I think, in the past, right?
Yeah, I've had this conversation with a few people the last like couple weeks. From being there for 10 years and, having a little bit more experience from the other past 10 years in General Hospital, I just have to say, I think we're in like a really good spot. Like everybody on set is humming along. We've added Sally, who's been directing YNR for a long time, who has a wealth of experience in the genre. She's come on board as a executive producer with Josh. She knows what she's doing there. We've added some great cast members. One of them, obviously, being Billy. I can get into that. I'll tell you a little bit of story about that in a little second. But yeah, even just like Roger and Tamara, and like there's just like such great actors that are so much respected. They know what they're doing. They know the genre. They know how to build these characters. They know the rhythm of the way soaps work. So much of it is keeping the train on the tracks, and they're so capable of doing that, but also bringing so much energy. And I just think we're in a really good spot. It's been a really fun time the last handful of months. I mean, it's always been a good time, but we've added some new people. And when you get that caliber of actor to come on, like, Roger and everyone else, and for these stints, who knows how long it goes for, but they bring so much to whatever. Maybe it's like 2-3 months or and it's awesome. And even when I found out that Billy was coming on board, like I text Josh straight away and I was like, this is a great thing for our show. Like, he's awesome. The caliber of actor, the capability of doing it, being up there. I know that he's represented Days for so long in such a great manner. I know I talked to a couple people and they just talked about what a great guy he was. I was like, I always think of it sometimes as like a pro sports team. And when there's a free agent down there and you get that free agent and you sign them, you're like, you should be excited that they just make your team that much better. And that's how I feel right now. I'm very, very excited and optimistic about the cast and the crew that we have rolling right now.
Yeah, it's really an unbelievable when you talk about like baseball players, especially with the playoffs going on right now. It really is like a baseball team, right? And you like look at the acquisitions on this team and it's all just like stacked right now.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think, and you know this from being a veteran on daytime, I think it's needed now. I think you got to shake things up. I think it can't always just be like, here's the same 10 people and here's it needs to like.
Yeah, I mean, you got to shake up the story and everything else. But when you have the potential to bring really great people in to help tell those stories as well, and then you have like, Billy with the longevity that character, the history that it already has, and then the potential to go way into the future with it. That's the right acquisition that you want to bring onto the team, and then you add in all the other people. It's a really good spot for us.
Yeah, I mean, Billy hasn't even talked yet, but here we go. Glad that Billy Flynn is part of YNR. He's a great actor and a great addition.
Totally.
So there you go. Billy, can you hear us? And can we?
Thank you. Yes,
no.
I can. Can you hear me?
We can. You're just out of sync a little bit.
All right. We're going to do this old school. I'm just gonna get closer. Hope I don't fall backwards.
No.
Is that better?
I don't know. It's kind of blur. It's just that it was very good. It was very steady before when we started, and then it kind of went latent.
So this is this. So you can't really hear me, and it shouldn't
can
be that
hear
way. It
you.
should be this way.
No. No, I can hear you. It just you're going in and out blurry.
Okay, great.
We can hear you though.
Oh, blurry.
A little.
If you have anything important to say, text me and I'll let them know what you're trying to say.
Well, sign language. I can hear you. It's just you're blurry. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if it gets any better. And if it gets worse, I'll figure out a solution real quick.
Okay. So we were talking about you and coming onto the show, and what was it like? Now, you and Jason knew each other before, I'm assuming, but or not? No, really?
No, not really. I mean,
we texted a couple times when a couple of years ago we were nominated in the same category, and it was kind of like, hey man, love your work, blah blah blah, and like that was it. But we'd never met before.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on Jason, Billy?
Oh jeez.
Oh boy, where do I start?
My screen's going glitchy. I'm gonna have to get off here.
I can't talk now. I'm just saying, Jason's one of my all-time favorite actors and people. So it's really cool to have you, another one of my all-time babes, together on the same show and playing like stepbrothers.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of mine now too. I mean, we had crossed paths, you know, at Emmys and things like that, and I had obviously seen his work, but like it's different when you get there. And you know, we've had this conversation before where there are two different kinds of shows. Days is a younger cast. They don't seem to retain as many of the people who had been there longer. It's kind of more of a revolving door. And when you step into somewhere where these people have been doing it for that long, you know, I was so nervous, you know, and then you see somebody as like charismatic and charming as Jason up on camera, and you're like, you know, I remember sitting in my dressing room the first day and I was like, I'm not going out there. I'm not going to follow that. So, but you know, then you're fortunate enough to share a scene with him, and you know, he makes everybody better, you know, so you just get to kind of be along for the ride.
So I have a word for you. So the buzzword for like in the summer was Aristotle Dumas. Like we heard it ad nauseum. Now we're hearing AI software.
Oh boy.
AI software. So every sentence is like AI software. So I'm like, do you know what? I mean, we don't know yet, I believe, but like, what is what the AI software does?
I do.
Okay.
I do. We do. We know what it is.
You know, I just want to know, like, in your.
What is it, man? Tell me.
But you know, it's not like something that's just this nebulous thing that you weren't filled in on.
No.
Okay.
It's powerful. It's the most powerful AI program ever created.
Apparently, I didn't know Cane had all this. It's amazing what this new Cane can do.
It's why Billy's glitching right now, because it's that powerful.
AI software.
Actually,
Josh,
by the way, Billy, it's your camera's crisp now. Just to
it's good now.
Okay, good.
So don't move.
I'm not gonna move.
Yes, AI
it is
the buzzword. Like it's all I'm hearing, right? And all the characters are like, I want that AI software. And what is it? You know, is it danger? I don't know. Like, will we soon know?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, Jason?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think what's important is that this, whatever it does, it's got the capability of taking down a Titan, right? And so that's really what we're talking about. And you know, when you get this, our show, Young and the Restless, is, I mean, it's Victor and Jack, it's the Abbotts, it's the Newmans. You've got the you know, Chancellor Industries involved and everything like that. It's like, sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around how big some of these companies are, of course, but it's like, I was talking to Josh about it, and we were talking about, you know, Chancellor, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, there's a part of it that we're seeing in real life right now with Skydance and CBS merger and all that kind of stuff. I mean, these kind of things happen. Like, people want to own everything, And that's kind of what our show is about. And they want to take their competitors down. And then you get into the nuance of who these characters are and the personal stories and everything else. And then, you add Cane and Billy's personal story there, and then you add Jill and everything else. Like there's a lot going on. Of course, we tend to hear over and over, like, I had such a good time when we were in France shooting that stuff, because like, did it go on a little bit long? Sure. That's what we tend to do. But it was great to be in a new set. It was a great way to introduce this new character. That's not a new character, but a great way to introduce Billy. I think that he did such a great job in those first couple months, because it was a lot. Like, he came on and he had a lot of work to do with everybody on set and big scenes and trying to like maneuver all this kind of stuff and own this certain kind of bravado that Cane found over these couple of years. Like, it was a lot, but when you peel all that back, it's really about these relationships, and there's a lot of history that we have to kind of work around with all these AI softwares, with all the Aristotle Dumas. Like, you got to try and find the personalities and the history in all of that dialogue sometimes. So it's challenging to do, but I think we're on to something with the story. Like, everybody's involved, which I love.
Everyone's involved. And I have to ask you, Billy, so I mean, how great was it to have Jess back and to do these scenes? And what was it like meeting Jess and doing scenes with her in person, Billy, for the first time?
Let me just check. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think some of you guys' mics, it was starting to get funny on my end, but
you're
it's getting weird
on the mic, but go ahead.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna just get to a better spot here.
Jason, talk about having Jess back. I mean, these were they opened old wounds. They had a talk. Here she was. You've had such a wonderful, I know she loves you very much, Jess. How was it to have her back to do these scenes recently?
I mean, it's always great, and I do love her. We have a very special relationship. It's tough, because it's like she makes it very difficult to get mad at her, because she's so sweet, but she's such a powerful woman, and Jill is such a powerful woman as well. And there's a personal relationship that we have. I just feel like I wish there was more of it. So I always get very, very happy when she comes, because I know that there's always something to play. We don't really have to say too much to each other. There's a lot that's always there. Just as a person, I'm just always so happy to see her. Like, everybody is. Like, she walks onto set, and it's a special person that's walking onto set, someone that has earned her the claps, the how are yous, the hugs. Like, she's such a loved person, and she's done such an incredible job for so long, just retaining this kind of grace. And yet she shows up and she just, like, she just handles it. I know sometimes for her, she gets a little bit nervous because she hasn't done it a lot. I keep trying to tell her, I'm like, it doesn't matter what you do, it's always incredible. Like, it always just ends up being fantastic. So that's the last thing you should worry about, because there's never a moment where you're like, that wasn't fantastic. Like, she always brings something interesting and new to every scene that she does. And she's great. I love her so much.
Billy.
Yes.
Talk to me about working with Jess Walton in the flesh, not on a video. She's it, right? We were just talking about, like, when I see her on screen, just to Jason's point, it's very, oh my God, there she is kind of moment for somebody who's watched the show for such a long time, and everything she's brought to the show over decades. So it's always such a great touchstone moment. It's not like, oh, there we recognize Jill, and it's Jill. And to be connected with her in story is just kind of amazing. So Billy, what was it like for you with Jess?
Yeah, she's incredible. I mean, the last time we spoke, I told you her and I had talked on the phone, and we had a really great conversation. But to, like, be there with her, and especially that, like, it was with her, Jason, right off the bat, like, it immediately kind of set the tone of what that relationship would be. And Jason and I found, like, she allowed, I think, Jason and I to find out what our dynamic was going to be. so she like opened up this sort of, she kind of gave this really great gift, you know, to me of
Okay.
He's thinking.
Of and
Mm,
and
technology.
technology. The AI software is not working.
I'm telling you.
It's
I'm
not
telling you.
working.
It's Victor. Don't
It's
get me wrong. You
Victor.
think that he's not sly? He's
Yeah. So what is Billy's deal now with Cane? It's like a who's zooming who. It's like who. It's very Ocean's 11. Like what, you know, everyone seems to be playing everybody else.
yeah.
Like what, like where's Billy at this moment? Like everyone's always worried about him. He's going to go off the deep end. He's upset everybody. Like where is he at the moment then with Cane?
It's an interesting relationship, those two, because, you know, we go back to, I don't know how many years ago it was, where, I mean, I don't know how long Daniel was gone for, five years or somewhere in there.
2019.
Yeah. Right. Okay, cool. So, and they had an interesting relationship. I mean, they worked closely together at times. They had some hugs at times, and there was definitely some punches thrown between those two. Clearly, Billy has a feeling about Cane and his relationship with Jill. There's a lot to unpack with Jill and Billy, a lot of unresolved problems, and Cane is all part of that. I think that realistically, what I like about Billy is that I think that he sees a little bit of an equal with Cane. There's a part of him that actually believes that he's capable of like pulling off the things that he's saying, but also thinks he's like, just take him or leave him, you know? And I think that there's a part of that is just like, you know, whatever, dude, like, you know, you're like my little brother, but I also think Billy knows that he's capable of like some things, and he's been there, done that. And I think that the thing that he worked on while he was gone, he's come back with a you know, a new energy. And there's another thing about the Cane and Billy thing that is somewhat not really talked about yet or undiscovered, is that the relationship that Billy and Lily had while he was gone, you know, and that's hasn't really kind of come up much, a little bit here and there. I mean, if you're talking to me, I think from Billy's eyes, that was a really profound relationship that they had, and it ended in a way that kind of just stopped, but for reasons with Chelsea and all that kind of thing. But there's still something there if you're asking Billy, you know. I still think that there's a lot of respect there with Lily, and I still think that there's like a little bit of something underneath there, which I'm always, you know, trying to hold on to as an actor. I try to keep that stuff percolating as much as I possibly can. So I'm hoping that some of that comes up at some point. But I think there's a lot of story to tell with Billy and Cane and Jill and Lily and everyone else. I think there's got to be something going on there. Like, I don't think we really know why Cane and Jill have the relationship that they do, and why Billy seems on the outside a little bit of that, like why he feels the way he does, why he feels like second fiddle, even when his mother is like his blood mother. I don't think we've really figured that out yet, or we've really tried to understand why that's happening, but there's something there.
Billy?
My phone overheated.
By everyone, there'll be a blooper reel for this video later on.
Michael's never going to talk to me again.
This is the last time.
No.
Okay, so we were talking about Jess and Cane, and obviously it's like very clear that she would like Cane better than Billy. Do you think she does, or do you think it's a ploy?
I don't think that that's the case. I mean, I do personally think that she likes me more. No, but I think look, it's like, if you know, if you're like a stepson, oftentimes they're easier on the one that's not their own. You know, so I think her standards are probably higher for Billy. But there's also maybe a kinship. You know, she was in love with his father, and she sees some of the same things. And I don't know. I think for me, like, I got to play the idea of like connecting them. So I've only seen their relationship kind of like that. And it's kind of fascinating because when you just watch those two work, there's so much love in like history and nuance in the way that Jason and Jess perform together, that like, for me, like, it's like, oh, like I'm never gonna have with her what those two have. So it kind of gives Billy the same sort of feeling that I'm sure Cane actually has with him, which is she's never going to be my mother. You know, I'm not going to have that relationship with her. But yeah, I mean, it's a definitely a kinship. I think you could be kind of like soulmates with a person that necessarily isn't your blood. You know, like for me, it was my great grandmother. It wasn't my mother. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, I love you too, though. But yeah, and at least, you know, Jason and I had a lot of conversations about this kind of going in, which was like this dynamic, this version of Cane, and it feels closer. I like to play my relationship with Billy a lot closer to love than like a conflict, and I think out of the love comes a kind of a stronger. There's more of an ability to kind of like fight. It's almost like the DeMare family, you know, when you're family, and it's filled with love, then everything else, the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what that dynamic is. So like, I'm going to play up my love with Jill and my love with Billy. And then the relationship of who she likes more, I think, is just whatever the audience perceives that to be.
But Jason, wasn't he been upset for a while that she wouldn't give the company to him? Isn't that been the whole thing? He didn't, or took it away from him? Remember?
Yeah.
He's devastated ever since then.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot there, right? I mean, you know, it depends on how far back you want to go. But I mean, she begged him to come to Chance because she needed support, because the Winters were trying to take over the company. And then so he left working for Chabot to go over there. And then all of a sudden, you know, I want you to run the company. I'm not healthy. Do what you need to do, make the decisions. And then before you know it, everything was pulled away from him and everything. So there's a lot there. And that'll continue to go on, I hope. And we come to a bottom of it. But all of that is involved, you know, Cane, this, that, finds out that he kind of knew a little bit about, or she knew about Aristotle and everything else. Like, so it's just this feeling of it's your mother and you're still left in the dark constantly, you know, like you constantly try to like trust the relationship, and then you're just smacked again and again and again. And at a certain point, you're just kind of like, how much longer do you do this? But I want to make a quick little point there, because I love what Billy just said, which when I'm talking about like personally why I was so excited about him to come on board is because he thinks about it that way. Like, I knew that he was going to be an actor and a person that thought about the character that way and brought that kind of energy, and was not only willing, but wanting to talk about, where are we going here? What do these characters mean to each other? How do we build this? And that's like the most fun for me, when you're working with someone that wants to go to those places. And it's when you do that kind of work, it's inevitable that it's going to come out on screen, you know? And that's so much of what we do, because you don't get a lot of time on set to work this kind of stuff out. You have to do a lot of personal work and figure it out on your own, you know, and then you're able to talk about it as much and as quickly as you can, and then just trust that it shows up. But that's the kind of level of like actor when you're making these kind of like commitments. I was stoked, because you're bringing in somebody that wants to think from that place, and that just brings so much value to the canvas.
So do you see a world where the two of them will actually be completely on the same side and working together, because maybe they are?
I hope so. I don't. I mean, listen. Like, I think that's what makes it fascinating. Is like, you know, I think if the story pertains, I'm gonna play the scene, at least, that I'm always gonna look out for Billy. He's the closest thing I have to family, and the same thing with, you know, like I said with Jess. Like, there's nobody in, at least from the way that I'm, you know, kind of building that Cane and where I hope to see he goes in the future, is that like there's nobody that Cane is going to reveal himself more to than Jess, and so then Billy's second or third, next to Lily. Like so when they're going forward, like if there's a scene and he's up against it, I'm never not going to play empathy for Billy. Except in moments like even when we had these great scenes and he was great in that whole story arc where Cane's kind of telling him, I want you to be involved and I don't want you to be involved. Like, however it plays out, I was playing it that I didn't want him to make the same mistakes with Sally that I made with Lily. And that's why I was telling him, you're out, whether that's what happens, with the script and everything else. But when you come in at least with kind of an intention and you hope that it plays out. And then I think Jason's right. Like you can, when you build these things, you're able to hopefully kind of manifest something that the writers see and go, let's try that direction.
Let's try that. Yeah.
And so I hope there is a time when it could be Billy and Cane against the world. That'd be awesome. I
think that'd be amazing. Cause that would be such like, you wouldn't expect it, but they really are together. Like something like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I asked right off the bat, I was like, please tell me that like this whole blow up thing is just like part of the scam, like, oh no, Billy's mad at Cane, and then like, the end when in my fantasy world, like Victor's against the ropes and then, in comes Billy, and there's a handshake and and it's those two and it was them that took him down,
That would be amazing because Billy does not like Victor, so
mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be great. But I mean, too, because I know I was kind of jumping in and out. I feel it almost still doesn't feel like real or home because like the cast, it feels like an all-star cast, especially now with Tamara and Roger. But like even before they came on and Lucas Adams, it's when you get to watch somebody like Jason and. Because from afar, like, listen, the work that you do isn't always what you see. And Jason and I were just talking about this the other day. He like blew me away with this monologue that he had. And sometimes the thing that's experienced by the actors or the actor isn't maybe what it ends up on camera. You can't control that because there's lighting and music and camera angles and all that stuff. And, but like, so when you're watching the show, you have an idea, but like when I got to sit in front of them and be present and like listen to somebody like Jason talk, it's a different world. Like there's a reason Young and the Restless is number one. And it's the talent that they have. It's incredible. There's not a single person that I've worked with where I walked away. Like, there'd be times of days when it's like a lot of the younger people, you're kind of helping them and carry them in scenes. And like to be that in these where I'm being like carried by Jason Thompson and Eric Braden and no, I mean it because you don't have to do anything, which is the best type of thing you can do. Is in days you would have to like, there's scenes where you're manipulating the moment to try to make the scene work because the other actor's kind of going one way and you're like, and it's like, you don't need to do that. I haven't had to do that once. And oftentimes it allows me to walk away going like, oh, I missed that moment, where it's like, I just want to be of service to them. And that's the best place you can be as an actor. I
agree with that.
Tia asks, can you ask Billy and Jason how it's been working with Michelle Stafford? And can Jason justify Billy firing Phyllis when she was at her lowest point after he saved her? Okay, Jason.
I feel like Billy's always justifying his actions. Okay, well, as far as working with Michelle, I mean, talk about someone that is a veteran. Talk about someone that brings something new all the time, that is enthusiastic about the job, that is like, I've really enjoyed, I didn't work a lot with Michelle. I mean, obviously Billy and Phyllis had a relationship for many years, so there's a lot of history there, but I didn't have a lot of history with Michelle. Going back to GH, I didn't have a ton of time working with her. I didn't work a lot with her. So the last handful of months, we got to work a little bit, and it was super fun. I mean, we'd find these little rhythms, these back and forth, these like, quick listening to each other and firing off lines, whether they were written in the right spot or not, or just like, you know, sometimes you can find that little pocket, and when you have a couple people that are willing to play in that pocket, like it can be really, really fun. It's whether it works or not, it's like, who knows, you know? I mean, but it's like, it's fun. And I really enjoy working with her a lot. And she's so incredibly capable of so many things. And yeah, I've had a really good time working with her. She's fantastic. As far as the firing, like, I mean, as far as Billy's mind, he was trying to protect her in a similar way. She's like, she was not in a good headspace. And if she wasn't in that headspace, she could not come into this role and give her everything that needed to be for this job. And that's like, you know, maybe it didn't come across that he was trying to watch out for in the same way. Billy really does. I mean, ultimately, he really does care about Phyllis, and it comes out in interesting ways. And sometimes they both get in their own way sometimes. But yeah, I think that's really where it came from. Similar to what Billy's talking about with Cane. It's like there was a point where he was trying to say, like, hey, you're not in the right headspace to be taking on anything else but taking care of your family right now. Take a break. I'm not saying this won't happen again, but right now it's just not the best thing for you. And I think that's really where he was coming from in that moment.
Billy Flynn, what do you think about working with Michelle Shepard?
It's amazing. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know, just like everybody else has their own thing, you know, she's somebody it's impossible for her to not be like authentically Michelle. And that leads, you know, the scenes all over. I mean, the whole origin of this Cane and Phyllis sort of relationship where they're at right now stems out of what they saw with me, like Billy and Michelle, not Cane and Phyllis. Like, I don't, especially with where we're going, because she would come into these scenes and she's a whirlwind, you know, she's like, she could run to everyone. She's got her coffee. She's like, comes, you know, she's like a tornado. And I would be in scenes with her just smiling and being fascinated by Michelle. And it would, and again, like to what he's saying, what I was saying before is like, when you get to just be present and like, let the scene go wherever it's going to go, the scene's always drifted towards this kind of fascination, but also like sort of this like fun, masochistic, like every once in a while, Cane has to like tell her to shut up and like listen.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So that's just like, that has been my relationship with Michelle's. We just have this fun sort of banter, and it's like anything goes, and she's amazing. You know, everybody on that show is authentically them, and that's a really rare quality one to do as an actor. But when you get a bunch of people who are vets and have been doing this long, that's what you get. You know, nobody's trying to be somebody or not, and it leads to really amazing scenes because you're seeing their quirks and their personalities kind of come through.
Everybody in the chat wants to ask about, obviously, Billy. You had the final scenes with Tristan Rogers before his, and I know, Jason, you know him very well too. These scenes. Can you tell me, Billy, kind of how it was tackling that, knowing how he was doing at that point? And it's kind of like an amazing moment to think about, like, you filmed this flashback and this is kind of the last thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he was incredible, you know. I think that's one, I felt fortunate to be able to like have that, kind of share that time and moment with him. You know, being in those scenes with him, like he drove the scenes with the level of heart that he had. Like I've said it before, he had one line that I still think about where he says, "What a woman," and he's talking, yeah. And like that, like he was that. I mean, he was that amazing that like that one line stuck with me. And I remember he said that line, and I just sat and looked at him. And I mean, listen, when I saw him, we got on, and you know, obviously he wanted to do that, and I'm assuming he was in probably a lot of pain. Is that me?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he was in a lot of pain, but he was incredible, and you wouldn't have known. He just showed up, and for me, he crushed it, and I was honored to be able to kind of.
How did you feel? How did you feel going into it? Did you kind of know?
Yeah.
I mean,
I met him beforehand. I didn't know. I didn't know. They kind of said, "Listen, he's going to be in this kind of shape, so don't be." I think he'd gotten a little bit worse since he agreed to do it. But I worked with Joe Mascolo for all those years, and he wasn't doing well. So, and again, like to what you said, if you go into a moment, regardless of what that scene is going to be, and you let that moment take over, like it was a gift, because that's exactly what that relationship was.
Mm.
It was dark because Cane's losing his father, and then in real life, now Tristan obviously isn't doing well, and that the weight of that wasn't lost on me. So I think like I got to just show up, and the day was so hard because it was that episode that was just Cane, and those monologues were heavy, and I was in my head all day.
Doing the video, right? The video.
Yeah.
Video. Yeah.
So it was all like, I was all kind of in this woe is me, because I didn't feel great about the performance of those scenes. And then I sat down in a room with him, and all of that kind of just left. And I just got to kind of be of service, and be in that moment with him. And I'm forever grateful. And a part of me feels a little bit, like I had just started, and I'm so grateful that he gave that to that relationship. But there's a part of me that was like, people ask, and I go, I knew him the least amount,
Yeah.
I kind of felt like there's a part of me in a fantasy, in kind of an alternate world where I'm like, I guess I would have liked like Daniel to have had that moment, who had that long relationship with him on camera. But I felt lucky to have it.
Jason, It's unbelievable to think of Tristan's legacy too, and to think that with Kim, on General Hospital, it was Kimberly McCullough's, your on-screen love interest. It was her dad on the show, and Robert and Anna and everything, and Patrick and Robin. I mean, what can you say about Tristan, and how did you did not get to see him that day, I'm assuming, or did you?
Unfortunately, I was not in that day. He was in my dressing room, which I thought was kind of a special moment. He just happened to be staying in my dressing room, and I know Billy they were running lines or whatever in there, so that I felt good about that. But I wasn't there that day. I didn't get to see him. Yeah, man. I mean, like he had this kind of edge, this kind of like, this kind of rock and roll, whatever. I'm gonna do it this way, and they don't like it, fuck what. Like he just had that about him, and I just always admired that from when I was younger at GH. We went on some capers together, I remember a couple scenes, like I think I was in a bathtub or something like that with like Robin, and it's just like you get caught up in all these things that you do in this genre, especially when you do it for a long time, and at the end of the day, you just you remember people's laughs. You remember these moments that you have in between the scenes when you're just looking at each other thinking, then this is absolutely ridiculous what we're doing, but having so much fun doing it. And we had a lot of those kind of moments. As soon as I heard it, Kimberly was my first call. Funny, I mean, kind of, I don't know, freaky enough. About a week before that, I've got this project that I've had in my mind for a while, and I was texting with Kimberly, and I said, we have to talk to Tristan as soon as possible. Like, he's not doing well. And then like 3 days later, he ended up passing away. And so I talked to Kimberly, obviously a couple times about it. We were texting, and then we got on the phone, and she just was, not to speak for her, but she's like, this one hit me really hard. Like this was a hard one to take. And I can totally understand why. She was what, 5?
5 years old, the little girl. Like imagine being the little girl. And
no, I mean, I not in the same way, but I mean, I still talk to Brooklyn. We still kind of stay in contact, and she was 5 when she came on. And I know the relationship that I had with Brooklyn, you times that by 10 with what Tristan and Kimberly had, and what Finola had. So it's, at the end of the day, it's incredibly special that we get to spend this kind of time, and as an audience member, that you get to see someone like this show up as often as they did for as long as they did with someone like Tristan. So it's a gift ultimately. And I, you know, it was very sad to hear what was happening with him, and obviously on the day that he passed. But my God, he brought so much to every scene that he was in. I mean, even him and Jess, like they went through the ringer. I mean, she would say he was her favorite person to ever work with, because it was just always fun, always crazy. He was willing to do what some actors wouldn't want to do. He'd be like, hell yeah, I'll do that. You know, he had that kind of energy about him, and just a lot of respect there, and just you know, just thankful that I got to meet him and know him the way that I did.
Oh, I'm so thankful you did. I was going to say, when you're talking about the way he was, like the irascible guy, it's very
he was a rascal.
Right. It was like back in the early 80s when him and, you know, when they started on the show, he came on and it was him against Tony Geary in these scenes, these buddies. And I think it's where this whole thing kind of edge thing came from all those years, because remember back then they would ad lib a lot. Like it was like Ad Lib City with Gloria Monty, and people were like doing their thing. And he was such a one of a kind, like this roguish, I'm going to say what I want. We're going to do whatever. And I think he carried that on through the decade, you know, 4 decades, 5 decades later.
No, incredible guy.
Tia, the Peter Berger, Jason Thompson scenes are always great. Yeah, they are. They're pretty fantastic right from the beginning. Okay, so we got to talk about Peter.
Yeah.
Because I just saw a scene the other day. I mean, he's always kind of disappointed in Billy, right? He's always, is it Jack, or is he just, but he still loves his brother.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, again, you know, right on topic. Just you're talking about someone that is just an incredible person. First of all, cares so much about the work, cares so much about the genre, cares so much about the actors. Still, I don't know how long he's been doing it, still like has a drive and wants to be good. It flows through him when it's time to get people together and run the scenes. He wants to be professional. He's so capable of, you know, this emotional life that he has inside of him. I mean, he'll get teary-eyed just talking about running scenes, not even running the lines yet. He'll start to get weepy-eyed. So like he's got that emotion in him constantly. I love working with him. Again, it's that familiarity that we don't have to do much. It's just kind of there personally between us. The relationship is special between Billy and Jack. There's so much to uncover there. It could go on and on and on, and there's always going to be something to play there. I just feel so fortunate to be able to have that. Like kind of similar to what Billy's saying. Like, you don't really have to do a lot. Like, I know what Billy feels like. Like, similar to what Billy was saying again. Like, you do these scenes, and then they're kind of out of your hands, and they go on. You know, they get sweetened, they get put out there. Everybody's got a different opinion about who's right, wrong, how they see it. When I work with Peter, I just have to listen to him, and I have what I've got going on, and sometimes it changes within one line. The way he says something, it might just piss me off even 10 times more than it did when I read the scene in the script, or the opposite way. He could say it one way, and if I'm just listening to him, it could break me just by his inflection or whatever. And I think that's really what you get when you care about another actor, and you know kind of your who you are as an actor. And so when you have that kind of history, it's, you know, it's just fun. Like, every single time we work, we hug and we say, man, it's just always so much fun to work with him like that. And when you have a rhythm with someone, it's great, right? Like, when you work in a similar way, it's like, hey, you want to run lines? Just run lines. Let's do it. And then it's like, great, let's go. We're going to be there early. We're going to run it. We're going to be on time, all that stuff. And that's what Peter shows up as, like, the most professional guy that you're ever going to meet. You know, he shows up blocking and he's already in, you know, makeup and wardrobe. Like, it's just, that's how he rolls, you know?
Or either of you intimidated when you first, I think I'm getting, maybe it's your feedback really from you. It's coming from, yeah. I was going to say, or either of you intimidated when you first met him or did a scene with him?
I don't remember being intimidated, not anything more than just the overall intimidation of, like, you know, coming on set as a new character, as a new person playing a character that has a tremendous amount of history, which, you know, frankly, he knows all about. He did the same thing. So he was super supportive about that. I don't think I was really all that intimidated by him. And I think that's a testament to who he is, right? Like, he didn't hold himself to have that energy about it. Like, he doesn't have all that much kind of ego and bravado. Like, hey, you gotta, like, you know, you should be intimidated to work with me. He doesn't carry himself like that. So no, I didn't really feel that energy. Not anything more than just the simple nerves of being on set in the beginning when I was like taking over the role. That was my experience with him. But
yeah, I feel the same. I mean, I remember the first time we were nominated together. He came up to me and he had the sweetest things to say, and then our relationship had kind of started from there. But Peter was one of the big reasons why I wanted to come to Young and the Restless. I've been talking about coming to Young and the Restless with him for the last several years. I think, you know, there was one Emmys where he was like, it'd be great to work with you. I was like, I'd love to come over and work with you. I think he might have been the only person I wasn't intimidated by when I started the show. You know, I was intimidated because, especially the way I came in, I had scenes with Jason, Michelle, Eric Braden, Melody. I mean, everybody, you know, who's there. But Peter made me feel comfortable.
yeah,
Peter was the one person I could kind of look at him, because he's always that, like, you're doing a great job, and he's somebody who's such a champion of. I mean, I was just having this conversation with him the other day. You know, he's such a champion of going. The show needs new blood. It needs you and Jason and Mark Grossman. Like, you guys are the future. You know, and it's not often you know, you work with somebody who like a veteran who's like an icon in that kind of way, who's game to go, yeah, I'll pass on the baton. You know,
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like, I believe it's 25 Emmy nominations, I think it is, or something like that. And
it's crazy.
for lead actor next weekend. And I absolutely loved Peter in what he's nominated for, which was scene with Melody Thomas Scott, the intervention scene.
Yeah.
It was like a tour de force where that character went, where Jack went through there. And I said to Peter, I really think it's one of his strongest like, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just quintessential Peter Bergman, but like, it was great. I think it's one of the strongest reels. I mean, I didn't vote, obviously, so I don't know, but I just think I know what that was. And I thought he was just fantastic in it. Like, just great. So
he's great.
It was great.
Yeah.
Unique. Billy is playing Cane mysteriously, and Jason as Billy trying to figure him out has been a great cat and mouse scenes. Thank you. You are great. So that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think everybody. I think he's a little apprehensive about everybody. You know, I mean, I'm not sure who he trusts right now. Who's playing certain angles.
Yeah.
Billy's been off. I mean, sorry, Cane's been off for a couple years now, and he comes back and he's got all this, you know, the labyrinth and the everything. It's like, I don't think he trusts anybody right now, to be honest. I mean, and that goes back to like Jess in a way, right? Or Jill characters. Like, you know, you think you can trust the one person in your life, and then the rug gets pulled out from you from that person. So yeah, I think he's definitely trying to figure out what's going on with Cane and everything. And look, at the end of the day, you know, I know that I strive to try and play Billy as honest as I possibly can. Like, I find very creative ways not to lie with Billy, or to try and, you know, pull the wool over anyone's eyes in that kind of way. But, you know, everybody's scheming a little bit. And I don't think there's any question that Billy wants some of that power back. Like, obviously he wants to see Victor go down. That's the ultimate prize for him, you know, and he will not stop. And if there's a way to make that happen, he's going to explore it. And in this moment right now, Cane is a way to get that done. And, you know, whether they work together or whether Billy has to figure out a way to get what Billy has, or Billy has to figure out a way to get what, this is part of having Billy on the show now. It's like, I don't know what Billy, who's everything else. There's so many.
Right, like Billy. I was like,
Billy, yeah.
I'm like, they're saying Billy, and I'm like, which Billy?
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's definitely cat and mouse, but that's what makes it exciting, right? It's all the little nuances and everything else. And when, again, I feel like I'm beating a horse here, but when you have actors that are capable of playing the nuance, it becomes very exciting.
Do you think we'll know? I know you guys are ahead. Will we see this will we kind of be clued in? Or are we going to be like in the next several weeks? Do you think we're going to know anything? Okay.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I think you'll start to know. You know, I mean, the mysterious thing is funny. Just a cap. You know, I think you have to. Again, it's about like nuance, and if you're trying to make everybody guess, the best thing you can do is try to be truthful as possible as you possibly can in all the moments. You know, and I think on a show like this, so like I think all of us are in the same kind of boat where it all feels mysterious, and Cane's is kind of this like tool at the moment that is having people kind of guess. But I guess so. I guess that's a good thing. But you will see things start to reveal themselves. I don't know if it's, you know, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
But
what's interesting though too, Michael, is that
you're going to get some answers. You're going to see some things sort of played out. But even with where it's at, like knowing now, it's kind of just the beginning. You know, we're still at the start of the maze. It's the, you know, as
another maze. We were just in a maze.
No. Metaphorically. You know, it's just the game. You know, it's the first quarter.
Got it. I have a question for you. Is Billy ready to have some fun and light scenes with Crystal?
Yes.
Where are we at with that? Because didn't they just have another?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a long game. I think, you know, I can't imagine writing a show like this where you have to write these many stories and you have this many actors, because things happen, life happens, you know, and you know, just for me, for example, like they wanted to start the story 3 months earlier than they did. I was lucky that they waited for me. So therefore now you're hearing Aristotle Dumas a lot. I think with Cane and Lily, I think it's, so, you know, things have had to be, you know, pause for a moment to figure out kind of where they're going to go and when it's going to happen. But Crystal and I, like off camera, like we'll be laughing our asses off, and then they'll call action, and then we have to be serious. I mean, with Crystal and I, the hardest thing is to keep us from smiling or laughing during the scenes. So there will be some light stuff. We'll get there, and then, you know, you have a moment of lightness. But I think it's definitely a long game, and I'd prefer that, because we're trying to figure out, you know, the same way it was when I played Chad. You're trying to figure out what's going to happen with, like, you know, you don't want to see it right away. You don't want to see, if you know he's going to get the girl, why invest in the story? So
speaking of the girl, I want to ask Jason in the hat. So
Okay.
what's the deal with Sally and Billy now? Is it kind of over?
I mean, where are you? What are you watching right now?
I saw her be very upset with him. Like you know,
Yeah.
she was in tears, and there was the job thing, and she's mad at him, and she's very let down, and I don't know. So that's kind of,
yeah. I consistently let people down. That's for sure. No, he, you know, it does come around. There's
okay.
There's some commitments that are made and some changing. Yeah. Well, I think there's, I mean,
Does he love her? Does he love her?
Yeah, I think Billy does. I think that Billy is capable of loving many people.
Okay, well, that's a nebulous.
Well, no, but like when I think about it, like I can genuinely go back over, Billy was kind of trying to find reception at one point. We were talking about Lily. I genuinely think Billy really loved Lily. I don't think that relationship is really over in his head or heart or whatever. There's still something there for that, right? Billy and Victoria genuinely loves Victoria. Billy and Chelsea genuinely loves Chelsea and what they went through. He's very capable of that. And what I love most about playing Billy is that he's capable of all of it. He's capable of loving someone that hard and falling that hard and fighting that hard for him. He's capable of losing it all. He's capable of yelling at Jack and screaming at him, and then later on that afternoon going back and say, man, I'm sorry. You're my brother. I lost my mind. I apologize. Like, I don't put guardrails on him. If it's on the page and I figure out, and like, Peter and I were talking about these scenes where Victoria and Jack show up, and I'm like, is this an intervention? And I'm like going through there, and then you do the scene, and I'm like, I think I remember pounding on my chest or something, and I'm like, I said to him after, I was like, was that too big? I don't even know where it came from. And he's like, no, it's great. Just go for it, And it's like, it happens, but I like going like that with him, because I think in my mind as an actor, it's fun to go there, because I don't want to like, try and tamper it down. I think at times you do have to figure that out, but that's part of, what you're trying to craft. And so if you're talking about loving like Sally, like, yeah, I think he does. I think he really does. And I also think that there's a part of him that's like, this is good for me right now. I love this. I love what this is right now. I love her in this moment. Is it forever? I'm like, I don't think he thinks that far down the road.
I think there needs to be a Billy, Lily, Cane triangle.
Well, if you blinked, you would miss it. But there's been some really nuanced moments that Jason and I have had about his past with Lily, and also there was a scene when I come to Billy and Sally's place, and some digs there, and the way that Cane kind of addresses Sally is in and of itself sort of like, there's a thing that at least I play where every time I'm in a scene with Billy and Sally, I'm going to give Sally attention, because Cane's still cold about, even though Billy and Lily, I think that was first, right? You guys were together.
Oh yeah, before Sally.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
But that's where like the little nuanced moments of that, and knowing how Billy feels about Lily still. Yeah. Like when you hear me say Sally, I'm saying it with a little bit more affection than I.
I mean, and speaking of Sally, like Courtney is just so, again, like another person that just is just incredible. She's obviously gorgeous, but so capable, shows up, always on time, always knows her stuff. Like when you're working with someone like that, like the sky's the limit, because she's fun. She's so great at what she does. She's very easy. She's graceful, and she's prepared. Like, so you can go anywhere with these places. And I've had a really, really good time working with her. Like it's been super, super fun.
So here are the dueling Chads. So we lost Connor. Jason, what'd you think of that? Connor, we shoot Connor, and then he goes over and he's Chad.
I mean, I think we kind of found out about a week before, and it was all just really funny. Like, and then, Cane's holding him, and now or Billy's holding him, and now he's going over there. And great dude, super great dude. Had a lot of really good laughs with him. He came over to you. What was it called at that point? Chancellor. I don't know, when we were working together as my co-CEO, Chancecom. No, I don't think it was Chancecom.
No, Chance.
Yeah, Chancellor maybe, just straight up Chancellor. Yeah, man, I'm stoked for him. He's a great guy. He's, again, tries really hard, puts in the effort, and I'm happy for him personally too. Like I think that it's really nice to be wanted. And I know he's like getting married and he's starting his life and all that kind of stuff with his girl. And yeah, so I'm really happy for him. It's not you know, this whole acting thing in this genre, it's very unpredictable at times, and we're obviously going through a pretty unpredictable time just in general, you know, in the world, and obviously, you know, we all hear about the AI, and not just the Y&R AI software, but across the board. And so, you know, if you find yourself in a position where you're working and maybe the show's ready to make a change, or you personally are, and you find yourself in a place where somebody wants you and you get to go continue to work, I mean, dude, it's a great thing to continue to do what you love to do. So I'm really happy for him personally that he's continuing to do what he loves to do.
And Billy, he's playing a really great part. I mean, Chad's a great part.
It's a great part. It's a great part, and it's going to be even better now with somebody who's going to give it a different life, because they're going to give Chad a whole new, you know, when you've been around for 10 years, storyline, you know, maybe you're in twice a week or whatever, because you're using and you've been there for a long time. And, you know, with him, they're going to write Chad a lot. It's great for the character of Chad, because he's going to be there all the time, and they're going to be coming up with new storylines. And to what he was saying, you know, the universe has such a funny way of working sometimes, especially for somebody who's as good of a guy as him, in that, you know, cosmically, like me making the choice, because I think he was on recurring that Young and the Restless, right? So this great guy, this handsome young man and then he's not working much there, but by me leaving and coming to Young and the Restless opens up this leading part for now this guy to go, you know, and so now you have two people who are working more, who weren't working that much, who are now sort of in lead positions in a storyline, you know, and so that whole universe thing kind of worked out perfectly for that, and it couldn't have happened to somebody better. And now he gets to go and he gets to take this character and give it another, you know, God willing, 10 more years. Whereas for me, it was kind of, you know, you'd seen it over the years. It kind of was running its course. I don't think it was any fault to anything else. It's just, you know, and also with Kat, I knew Chad and Abigail's love story. I think they wanted somebody who could sell Chad and Kat, and sometimes you need to start fresh.
You start fresh. All right, guys. I want to thank you both so much for your time today. I know you got to get going. Happy Friday, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Sorry for the glitches.
Watch Glitchy Billy.
That's my nickname.
Glitchy Billy and Jason Thompson, weekdays on The Young and the Restless on CBS. And you would say we should hang on to fasten our seatbelts. Stuff's coming. I'm assuming.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There's always stuff coming.
Grab a cocktail, put your feet up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.
I love you, Jason.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having us.
Michael.
Appreciate your support as always, and the fans, of course. So thank you for having us.
Yep.
Cheers.